So good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Texas OnCourse monthly webinar series. We decided to modify our topic for April to sharing practices for supporting your students during COVID-19. We know right now across the state of Texas and everywhere else, teachers, counselors, and administrators are really working tirelessly to provide remote learning opportunities in such an uncertain time. So we've put together a unique webinar to cover some resources that we've developed for you as we work through this together. Today, we'll also hear from several Texas OnCourse Leader Fellows on how they are staying connected with students and families and all of the tools and resources that they have been using pre-COVID and also currently while school's not in session. So for all of our attendees, you will receive a follow-up email with highlights from the webinar, as well as all of the links that we cover, and also a link to access the recording. We also post all of our webinar content to our website, texasoncourse.org. So today is also a little bit different of a webinar. This is also an open discussion, so feel free to use the chat box. That's probably the best way to ask questions, and we will also discuss your questions and responses during the webinar, so we make the best use of your time. And also, all of our participants will remain muted except for the panelists. So if you're not very familiar with Zoom, you've probably gotten quite familiar with Zoom over the last couple of weeks. Here's just a couple Zoom settings that can help you participate in the webinar. The first one is just an audio test. It sounds like we did some audio checks and everyone can hear me okay, and you should see my Zoom screen, but you can test your speakers there. We don't really use the raise your hand and the question and answer very often, but you certainly can use those. We have some Texas OnCourse staff that's gonna keep track of the questions that are answered. We will also record them and make sure that if we don't answer your questions in the webinar, we will have an opportunity to do so in our follow-up email. So you can raise your hand and lower your hand and also add questions to the question box and send them. And also feel free to use the chat box. And then in the top bar there, you can change your screen size. So let's go quickly over the agenda for today's webinar. First of all, thank you to all of you that have registered and are attending live. We know that this is a very, very busy time right now within the world of education. We actually have over 500 educators joining us this morning, which tells us how important it is for Texas OnCourse to support educators at this time. We also have some questions that we will ask throughout the webinar, and we ask that you go ahead and answer those, and it'll really provide us feedback on how we continue to support your work with students and families during COVID-19. So we're going to kick off our webinar with some resources created by our content and our marketing teams. And then we will have Leader Fellows Jenny Patrick from Bangs High School in Bangs ISD and Will Collins from Kingwood High School in Humble ISD share all of the ways in which they are reaching students and families at this time. Then we'll also have some opportunity to get some feedback on some questions that are relevant for COVID-19 and this phase, and we'll close out with open discussion and collaboration. So we're going to go ahead and get started with just some general introductions. My name's Laura Guggen, and I'm Assistant Director of Program Implementation here at Texas OnCourse. And my background is in K through 12 districts as a college and career coordinator and also as a counselor at several different levels. And I currently work with our partner districts and our fellow districts on implementation of Texas OnCourse curriculum as well as the academy. Tama?
Hi guys, my name is Tama Reed. I am the marketing coordinator here at Texas OnCourse. So if you check our emails or if you guys are doing the scholarship challenge, you've probably heard from me. And I'm just going to be sharing some of the resources that Texas OnCourse has gathered and created for you guys during this time period.
Hey everyone, my name is Julie Stavropoulos. I'm the curriculum instruction writer here at Texas OnCourse. My background is in teaching. I was an English teacher for 4 years, and I specialize in the middle school curriculum and instructional tools.
Hey guys, my name is Jenny Patrick. I am the lone high school counselor at Bangs ISD. Fun fact, there are more people on this webinar than I have in my high school. So I'm just excited to share with you guys some tools that I've been using to stay connected with my kids during the school closure.
Hello, my name is Will Collins. I'm a school counselor at Kingwood High School. I've been a school counselor for 7 years. In the last 5 years, I've been in Texas at Kingwood High School. And thank everyone for joining today. We're in the same boat as you. Our school is online and we're converting all of our resources online and learning all at once.
Great. Thank you to our guest speakers from Texas OnCourse and our fellows for joining us this morning. I know we have a number of folks on the line who may be new to us, so I wanted to take just a minute to introduce Texas OnCourse. We are a state-funded initiative designed to improve college and career advising and readiness across the state. And we operate out of UT Austin and work in close collaboration with the Texas Education Agency, the Texas Higher Ed Coordinating Board, and the Texas Workforce Commission. And our goal is really to ensure all Texas students, no matter where they come from or where they're headed, have a plan for success after high school. We do this through free digital curriculum tools and educator training, as well as through access to up-to-date information and a library of resources. All of our resources are available online and are free to all Texas educators, students, and families. So we know districts are doing a lot right now to engage students while traditional school is not in session. And many are providing online learning support, remote learning opportunities, instructional packets, and things by grade level and by subject. So one of the questions I think that we would love to know is from the folks that are attending, what is the number one most impactful thing you feel like you are doing right now during COVID-19 to support your students? And you can go ahead and take a few minutes to use the chat boxes for your response and see what everyone provides. Okay, I'm gonna just highlight a few things. Supporting students as they transition to remote learning, Google Meetings to go over scholarship deadlines. Workforce Solutions has some career exploration, and we'll also talk about some. Flipgrid, Wakelet, Doxy for one-on-one, SEL lessons. Google Classroom seems very popular. Looks like direct email still works. Google Classroom, email, and phone calls. That is fantastic. So feel free to keep putting your responses in the chat box. We are going to transition to talk a little bit about the Texas OnCourse's resources that are all free and available online to support our educators and students. And we're going to have Tama Reed, our marketing coordinator, cover some of our resources.
Yeah, so Texas OnCourse has been working really hard during this period to collect and create resources for you guys to use as you kind of navigate this crazy world of connecting with your students and advising your students online. So if you head to the Texas OnCourse website, texasoncourse.org, at the very top in our menu, you'll find the tools section. And we have two really great landing pages for you guys, chock full of information for educators and for your students. And I'm going to start with the resources for educators page. On this page, you'll find lots of resources for you to use for remote advising and teaching and professional development. And I'm just going to show you of the really helpful parts on this page. So if you scroll down a little bit, we have these education agencies and department section. This is where you'll find frequently asked questions pages and updates from TEA, from the Education Coordinating Board and others. And we are always adding new resources and information to this section as they become available. And if you scroll down a bit more, a little bit more. Yes, we have this really great summer melt section page as well. We've been hearing from a lot of our counselors and advisors that students are going into summer melt, especially early this year, because they're spending so much time at home. So here's a couple of really great resources for that. And at the bottom of the page, if you guys have not joined our Texas OnCourse Facebook group yet, the Texas OnCourse College and Career Planning Source, guys, please do. There's a lot of really great conversations going on there, educators sharing the resources that they are using from across the state, and you can join at this link right here under online communities. And next, if we go back to the tools section in our menu, I'm going to go over our resources for students page as well. This page is a really great resource full of links that you can share directly with your students. So either copy and paste them into an email or put them into your online teaching platform. These are things like quizzes that they can take online, videos that they can watch from home, and activities that they can do as they're learning from home. So I'm going to show you a couple of our favorite resources that we have created for you guys. And if you scroll a little bit down, yes, to our career assessments handouts. These are a couple of really great handouts full of different types of career assessments that you can send to your students that they can complete online. And if you click on either one of these handouts, you are able to download them directly from here in the top right corner. You can send these directly to your students, or you can copy the links on the left-hand side and put them in an email or your teaching resource, and they can take the quiz online from home. And we also have a really great SAT versus ACT handout. This is great for any students that are preparing to take their entrance exam, hopefully soon. I know that they are postponed for now, but that's a great handout that can kind of show students what they can expect on either test. You're also able to download that in the right-hand side and send that directly to your students. And then lastly, on this page, we have a really great college application follow-up handout. And this is great for any students that are going through the college planning process right now, juniors or seniors, and it kind of just lets them know how they can follow up on their applications. A really great handout as well. Yeah, so and these pages are both being updated weekly, so please bookmark them, come back to them every couple of weeks. There will definitely be new resources for you guys to check out here. And I also want to show you guys our blog page under what's new in our top menu. First of all, shout out to the Texas OnCourse Leader Fellows who have been contributing a bunch of really awesome blogs during this time. We have a bunch of Leader Fellows that are sharing their experiences and sharing the resources that they're using during remote teaching and advising, and these are all on our blogs for you to check out. So please check out this page. And we are also sharing weekly COVID resource blogs that have all of the updated, timely information from official education agencies, including resources and best practices as well. And the great thing about our blog that we just updated, if you click on any of these blogs on that read more link, you can now subscribe to our blogs to get either instant, weekly, or monthly updates sent directly to your email. This is great if you want to stay on top of these COVID resources and get them sent directly to your email for these updates. And lastly, I just wanted to let you guys know about the new Texas OnCourse Instagram page. This is brand new. We just launched. You guys are actually the first people to know about it. We are sharing a bunch of COVID resources on this new Instagram page and some uplifting topics. So please follow us on Instagram if you're on @Texas OnCourse for all of the latest there.
Great. Thank you so much, Tama. All right, Julie, do you want to talk a little bit about some of the resources you're going to cover?
Yes, this is Julie. So we can go to the next slide. We've prepared a bunch of instructional and college and career planning resources that you might find especially useful during this time. To start, we have a variety of student self-guided activity sheets that you can easily find on our COVID-19 resource page that Tama just pointed out. And what's really awesome about these student self-guided sheets is that you can download them and edit them to fit your students' needs. First one we have is focused on career exploration, and the Space Journal is a fun student reflective activity that pairs well with our Middle Galaxy game, which is our space themed career exploration game. Our next selection of activities are focused on endorsement and course selection. This is great for our 7th and 8th graders. We have an independent activity, 10 ways to use Map My Grad, which you can find on our resource page, and the accompanying lesson plans that go along with it. And lastly, we have graduation planning student activity sheets that help students, prepare for the high school foundation program and their graduation plan. So this really gets them set up for that and discussing the distinguished level of achievement as well. And on our main page, you'll find all these under tools. You'll also see we've highlighted here the middle school curriculum guide if you would like to explore additional resources for instruction, and the middle school family guide, which is an extremely helpful resource to share with parents and guardians and get them involved in CCMR with their students. And they're definitely helpful tools. Feel free to explore all of our resources that we have here. And now I'm going to kick it off to our leader fellow, Jenny Patrick from Bangs ISD.
Hey everyone, again, my name is Jenny Patrick. I am the high school counselor at Bangs ISD, and I serve about 260 students, which doesn't sound like a lot, but small school counselors do wear a lot of hats as far as testing and scheduling and all the different roles that fall under that hat as well. But I just wanted to thank Texas OnCourse for allowing me to share some of the tools that I'm using, and it sounds like a lot of you guys are using a lot of the same things that I'm using as well. So I just hope that I can be a source of encouragement and a source of joy to you guys. Just some companionship today to let us all know that we're here together, and we can definitely get through this together. So the first thing that I want to kind of go over is just a list of tools. I've been using Texas OnCourse's tool called Map My Grad for my rising 9th graders. All of you know it's registration time. Some of you may have already done that, but Map My Grad has been a good way for me to get graduation requirement information out to my rising 9th graders, just because I'm not there to do it personally for them. And so you can find Map My Grad on the Texas OnCourse webpage, but it provides a really fun interest inventory for your students. It's short, and then they can connect their account to your high school, and they can see classes that you guys are offering in your school. And so they're able to choose, basically make their own 4-year plan and their own graduation plan, choose their endorsements and move on with their path, just like I was there with them. And so at the end of that, I'm having them shoot me a copy of their 4-year plan that they've made. And so that kind of helps me get them up and running with registration and things that I need to gather class numbers so we can move forward with hiring and master scheduling, which is all important during this time still. Like many of you said, I'm using Google Classroom, Remind accounts, Screencastify, Smore. And then Tama talked earlier about the blog page, and I did release a blog earlier this month just about virtual school counseling as well, covering these things if you just want to take a look back in that. And that blog is called Making Virtual School Counseling Effective in the Era of COVID-19. And you guys can find that again on the Texas OnCourse blog page. So again, like many of you guys are using Google Classroom. For high school in particular, I do have one Google Classroom for each cohort. My students have honestly been wonderful about accepting that invitation. I have a very low percentage of students that have not responded to Google Classroom. And I think honestly, because it's so easily accessible on any device. And so it's really easy for them on their phones to access that and to communicate with me. But I do give every cohort, all of my classes, a daily update just from the office, what we're working on, what we're doing, anything that they need to know. For example, this week, we are closed for Good Friday, and we will be closed next Monday, also for the Monday after Easter. And so our pickup times have changed this week. And so I let those students know that on our Google Classroom. We have also set up a technical difficulties email address for students that are having technical difficulties trying to use any of the resources that we're pushing out to them. And so I communicate that through Google Classroom as well. We talk about meal pickup times, what times our buses are leaving to deliver meals throughout the week. And so I just post important updates on there. And again, it's a platform for questions for students, and they, for whatever reason, have done a wonderful job at just communicating with me. Unfortunately, it is sometimes super late at night before they get a chance to message me, but they're really doing a good job of just asking when they need help. I've reminded them often that this is a time for them to advocate for themselves as students, and especially high school students who are rising into the workforce. It's important for them to speak up for themselves, and if they're struggling with something, they have to let us know. We're more than willing to help, but they have to speak up and advocate for themselves. So this is a good platform for that. I'm giving seniors update about all those things that they care about, they're heartbroken about right now, but I'm trying to encourage them and let them know through Google Classroom every day that we're working on those activities. And then I post videos from the principal and myself just about our updated class rank grading policy, things that affect grades. So here's just a quick screenshot of kind of what that looks like. All of you guys are familiar with Remind, used to be called, Remind 101. But this is just another platform for you to message students directly to their phone. I push out most of my scholarship correspondence through Remind, just because it's a quick update on a student's phone that reminds them of a deadline. And so this is a good way, it's proven successful for me to push out those deadlines to students. I also have a dual credit Remind group as well, because our dual credit partner is experiencing changes just like we are right now. And so they post daily updates to me. And in turn, I can post those to my students to let them know, for example, that our dual credit partner just canceled their final exams for this year. And so just to let them know how the grading policy is going to work. Just keep in mind, students do have so many accounts and different platforms that they're checking right now. And so they may not be checking their dual credit email address as much as they're checking their school email address. You can also invite parents to join. I've posted that link out on our school Facebook page and through our Twitter page, just so parents can also join the groups and they can get the updates as well. And again, I just love Remind, because who is not glued to their phone during this pandemic anyways? I annoy myself some days because I have been so glued to this phone and trying to keep up with all the updates, but so is everyone else. So if you can have a message that's sent directly to a student's phone, it pops right up on their screen, they're going to see it and acknowledge it.
And there's that website that you can go to there to get started, totally free. So Screencastify is a Chrome extension. If you're a Google school, or you can also add it just to your Google Chrome account. It's a Google Chrome extension that you can record your screen and record a little video. You can edit and then push those videos out. Normally there is a yearly fee to use Screencastify, but for now, Screencastify has lifted that fee for educators in schools. So please have your tech department contact them if you have not already. But this is the way that I am making some nice, clean updates to my students, posting a little video just so I can tell them anything extra, and then posting that on their Google Classroom. So normally videos are limited to about 5 minutes, but this new offer that they are willing to push out to educators right now lifts that time limit. And so you can post an unlimited amount of video that you want to. When you're done, it downloads directly to your Google Drive, and then you can upload it, like I said earlier, to any of your Google Classrooms. So this has been a great way for me to post videos on Facebook for parents. And more than anything, towards the beginning, I got honestly frustrated with the amount of just letters and words that we were putting out as a school. And I think as students, it was overwhelming and it was scary during this time. And so being able to see a familiar face, someone who is trying to push out a positive vibe and assure the kids that it's going to be okay, and this is our plan and this is what we're working on, I think was really reassuring to them. I had several students reach out and say, "It's so good to see you. I miss you. Thanks for keeping us updated. I was tired of just not seeing anybody." So I think this is a good way just to connect with them virtually, and just let them know that you're still working for them and that you're still here. And again, this next slide is just an example of how it will download to your Google Drive. It creates a folder for you. And then you're able to upload that onto your Google Classrooms, or honestly, any platform that you would like to use. So I've been using Smore just as a weekly update. Honestly, as a district, talking about meals and grading, SAT, ACT changes, and it's just a newsletter website that you can create your own virtual newsletter. And they're colorful, they're fun, they're easily customizable for you guys. I got this update from Blanca Martinez, who is also a Leader Fellow in Region 15. And so she's been using that for her district, and she was able to pop over some of that advice for me to start my own. And so the students have really enjoyed our Smore newsletter that we post weekly. And again, it's just another way to combine all of your announcements into one document. And I personally create one weekly to help parents and students stay in the loop. Smore allows you to create 3 newsletter templates for free. And then you would normally have to pay a yearly fee. I believe the educator fee is like $79. But as of right now, they've released about 10 to 12 free templates that you guys can use just from COVID-19 school closures. And so they're allowing you to use those for free. It may not be the color or background that you exactly want, but they have they've kind of lifted that limit of free for you guys during this time. But personally, I'm going to purchase it for our school to continue using throughout the year, because I'm getting lots of hits on the newsletter that people are reading. And I think it's a good way to reiterate the announcements that we are continuing to make. And so here's just a quick copy of one. And so I've got 260 students in the high school, and I took this picture on the first day, and I had 309 views on that first day. And so that was a big deal for me in our small school. So I know students are seeing it. I post the link on our Facebook page and on every Google Classroom. So I want to kick it over now to Will. He's doing great things over at Kingwood.
All right, thank you, Jenny. And I want to add a couple of things to what you said. I use the Smore newsletter as well, and it looks great on an iPhone. So a lot of people are using iPhones or personal devices to check email, and this looks amazing, and the links work. You can post videos, so that's great. And one additional thing is to make phone calls. I have downloaded the Google Voice app to my phone. So I'm able to call students and parents when email isn't working, and it generates a number for me. And they usually don't recognize the number. And I say, this is Mr. Collins calling from my Google Voice number. Feel free to give me a call back, and some give me a call back and an email back. So that works if you do not want your personal cell phone out there for your students. Okay, so, and I just want to talk about remote learning opportunities in general, and the challenge in college and career advising. And it's great that middle schools have college and career classes, and they really can push that curriculum out there. When the kids get to high school, it's a really more independent practice of college and career advising, and the students have to be strategic about how they go about college and career advising. So I think online resources are a great way, an opportunity for counselors and college and career teachers to provide for students at their own time, and it doesn't take up classroom time. So this has been a big year for me developing a YouTube channel and online resources for my students. So I've got a talk show that I do, and we'll talk about that later, and it's been really successful. So, but right now, there's plenty of opportunities if you just look at the school calendar. And in my district, Humble ISD, we started early this year, maybe August the 12th, and they gave us 2 extra breaks. So we had a fall break in October. Everyone has the traditional Thanksgiving break, I believe. There's a 2-week break during winter, or if you call it winter here in Texas, spring break, summer break. So these are plenty of opportunities when students are not in school in a general calendar year. And if there's some type of online opportunity that's set, that they can get resources from a counselor for college and career or social emotional or what have it, if it's already set up, we can get this information to students. And in Houston, we have trouble flooding the last couple of years. So this year, all of a sudden, there was a bunch of rain in the forecast, and there was a chance of flooding, and school was canceled a couple of days with no warning because of chance of flooding. If we have online resources available when things happen, just like everyone's experiencing something out of ordinary right now, it's great that we can still continue supporting students. So, and just another challenge, I have great ideas all the time as a school counselor, but I'm not scheduled for 6 classes a day. So getting my message to students, even when they're in school, can be challenging and need to be innovative. So do I need to wait until the next guidance lesson to get a message to students? Do I have to wait until the next class assembly? I can use social media, I can use YouTube, newsletters, etc. Because one day I had a great idea on a Saturday. Do I need to wait until Monday at 7 to get this message? No, I put it up there on a Saturday. It took me about 10 minutes and it gets out there. Go to the next slide. All right, so this is my YouTube channel. And I started a YouTube channel in September. So, and the videos are in order of most popular. So you see that my talk show Conversation with Collins is by far the most popular thing on my YouTube channel. But it all started with the 4th video there, our Kingwood High School College Room video. We really wanted to get the word out that, I mean, our college room at our school was the best kept secret at our school. So in the guidance lessons last year and at the parent night, college night, we had our AV students produce a video saying where the college room is, what resources are available, when you can get by, why you should go to the college room. And I wanted to add the college room video to the Smore Newsletter, but it said the file was too big. So I discovered that if I uploaded the college room video to YouTube, I can add it as a link, and it's really easy to do. Once I discovered this, I have a YouTube channel. This can be beneficial to my students and community. So I started developing more content for my YouTube channel. So you see that we had some colleges visit during lunch. I just got some video with the representatives. I'm talking to some of the schools. Texas A&M invited me, their Department of Economics invited counselors to their school. So I got a lot of good video from Texas A&M, and they had alumni from our school talking about their experience at Texas A&M. This is a wonderful video opportunity to have. So counselors, teachers, we get invited to colleges all the time. If you don't get any pictures and you don't get any video, it doesn't last as long. You may have some pamphlets and you may have taken some students, but I can, put this, I can share this on my social media at any time, and a one-time college trip turns into something that I can, recycle whenever I want to. And at a time like this, it's very valuable. Okay, so, and also my talk show is on two places, on two YouTube channels. So my school has a YouTube channel, our audio video department. So my message here is, if your school has a YouTube channel, if your AV department is producing videos, I believe it's important for the counselors to have a message and a presence where students are going to look at YouTube videos. So you'll see my talk show has a playlist at the bottom for students to come to. We had a parent night where we went over the endorsements for the incoming students. And we know everyone can't make it to parent night, but if we've got a YouTube, and if they weren't able to come, or if they missed something, they weren't able to take all the notes, they could come back here anytime that they want. And you'll see we have Mustang News at the top. That is a daily announcement / news show that students produce at our high schools. So we don't often use school time for announcements anymore. The teachers can play the YouTube announcements for the day, or they can tell the students at your own time to go to YouTube and read the announcements. So students are already described here. They've already done, the marketing work, and me putting my message here, college and career readiness, and, just peer advising. I have students just to come on my show and talk about what they're doing and sharing their message. So I believe we're going to show a clip of one of the shows, or of the first show, to give you an idea.
Okay, we'll queue up Conversations with Collins.
You know what I'm saying?
Good.
Shane, thank you for being on Conversation with Collins. How does it feel to be named National Merit semifinalist, to have one of the best PSAT scores in the state of Texas?
Feels pretty good. I was glad to find out that I recently got it.
Okay, so I know usually when you go home, parents ask, hey, anything new happened today? How was school? You had some big news that day, right?
Yes, my parents were super excited because a lot of colleges give out scholarships for it, and they're the ones paying for my college, so it just means they don't have to spend as much.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have a first grader, and I asked her, what happened at school today? Nothing. But if something out of ordinary happened, I usually get an answer. So it's usually about PE or recess, but PSAT, that was great. So what advice do you have for students that are going to be taking the PSAT or SAT exam to do well?
Yeah, the best thing people can do is take practice tests, like usually about the week before you take the PSAT, and make sure you use a timer whenever you're taking the practice tests and set it to the time limits that you have for each section. That way you're just used to taking the tests, and whenever you get there on test day, you won't panic. That's the best thing you can do.
Okay, awesome. Good advice. And that's what I say, the success is in the preparation in anything you do. So you've prepared well, you've taken good classes, you've taken practice tests, you do well on these things. So that's great. You're going to have many good outcomes because of that, Shane. So.
Will, that was a great conversation with Collins on PSAT tips from a student.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that was just that was our first show, and just want to give a praise to our AV classes and the AV teacher. They have a full schedule. They do a lot of videos for the school, and most of the production crew are 11th graders, and we have one senior. So I've seen a lot of growth from them from the first episode. None of them have ever produced a talk show, and I have never been a host of a talk show. So we all learn together, and it's been great growth with that. So getting the message out to school and providing, this is career, opportunities or experience for them. So is this show working? Are we getting views? Are people watching? So you'll see on the light blue line is my personal YouTube channel, and the orange line is the views on Kingwood AV, and the purple line at the top is the total views. So the first episode, we have over 350 views on both YouTube channels, and then episodes 2 to 4 have 50 to 100 views total from both. Well, not total, more like 100, close to 150 views total for episodes 2 to 4. 695 views for the talk show in total. So if I can go to my administrator and tell them I had 695 opportunities to engage students using 0 class time. I mean, this is a really innovative way to get information to students with using 0 class time. I'm still advocating that counselors are in the classrooms, but this is just to supplement when we're not in the classrooms.
All right, thank you so much, Will. So overall, we've had some great information. So thank you, Tama and Julie, Jenny, and Will for covering some useful tools, both from Texas OnCourse and your own counseling and advising practice at your school. Those were all very valuable. We try to stay up to date with additional information put out by Region Service Centers, Texas Education Agency, and other strategic partners that we work with. So I wanted to point out some additional sites and links that help educators directly address some of the relevant questions that we have on closing out this particular school year, how to counsel students virtually, things like awarding grades, what happens with standardized testing, and updates on accountability. So we will send all of these links out, obviously, in our email, but I just want to take a look and show several things that we found valuable that we are connecting teachers, counselors, and administrators to. The first one is we work really closely with Region 13 and their Education Service Center, and they have put together a virtual counseling toolbox that is here. And they definitely gave us permission to share this, and there's some great resources in here that I want to point out. The first one is just all of the questions around counseling and advising students during COVID-19. As many of you know, professionally, the American School Counselor Association puts forth ethics, and there's some great tips on here on maintaining boundaries. Will and some other folks mentioned using a Google Voice number and meeting with students so that you don't have to use your own personal information, personal email or personal phone numbers or anything like that, and as well as social media. So here's some instructions on creating a Google Voice number. We've had some requests on how to run a Zoom meeting. Joining is one thing, but also running a Zoom meeting, and there's always updates and things to learn. So there's some instructions there. Using Google Hangouts, using Google Meet. I think now is a really good time to remember self-care and resources, because a lot of educators that are doing things from home, we know, are doing other things like doing homeschool with their own students or taking care of family members and things like that. So there's also some ethical considerations on here, as well as the additional COVID-19 support some mental health information as well. I will say this is just one resource that I happened to learn about from working with Region 13, but if there are other Region Service Centers that have created anything similar, we are happy to share those and collaborate, anything that's relevant for folks right now during COVID-19. The next updates are primarily from TEA around these kinds of topics like accountability, STAR testing, grading, and instruction and CCMR kinds of things. So we link, Tama showed our educator resource page, and we link to this TEA COVID-19 support and guidance. This page is a really great resource on getting the most up-to-date information on things from the commissioner, superintendent decisions, on meetings that they're having around school closures, instructional planning, resources, templates, and all sorts of great information. There are a few things that I would like to point out directly. And if there are specific questions about these, I would probably go ahead and work with TEA directly on answering some of those. But here's a few things. This first one is essentially that we've had a lot of questions about what happens with accountability this year. And essentially, this is a letter to all relevant appropriate staff in Texas that for 2020, state academic accountability, all districts and campuses will receive a label of not rated, okay? So accountability will not be counting. Texas is a declared state of disaster for this particular school year. So you can see additional information on those accountability details. The next one I want to point out is just around STAR testing, because we also have heard some questions around this topic. And essentially this is a memo to the administrator address that there is STAR testing for the remainder of the school year in 2019-2020 has been canceled. There's some additional information here. And I know grading has been a popular topic in terms of questions. TEA put out some guidance on grading and graduation requirements right here. A lot of the grading has to do with district local policy, but there's also some additional details on here around guidance regarding grading for districts that are doing distance learning, as well as how schools should record grades, completing report cards, calculating grade point average, not only for graduating seniors, but also for the rest of the students in 9th through 12th grade, and how to handle class rank. So we've added that. We'll also send that out to you all. There's some additional information in here on how to handle individual graduation committees. And then the last one I want to just point out is regarding SAT, ACT, TSIA, AP, and IB exams. Also, you know, the College Board and ACT, those vendor websites will have some information on there, but testing has been suspended through June, and there's some additional information here on how to handle AP exams, as well as IB exams, College Board resources, the TSIA, and anything else regarding to standardized testing as we close out this school year. Okay, so I know that that's a lot of information. I'm going to take a minute and look at the chat box. Thank you, Kathy, for adding in a lot of those links, and we will send those out. I also want to just make sure we make this announcement. If anyone has colleagues that were not able to get into this particular webinar for whatever reason because of the Zoom settings, we will make sure everyone who's registered has access to the webinar. First of all, let me go ahead and open it up to say if there's any questions on anything that we covered, go ahead and ask those questions now in the chat box. And while you're thinking of those questions, we did have a few things that we wanted to close out with as we have about 10 more minutes. So our first question, just for our attendees, is what are the biggest challenges you are facing right now in terms of experiencing working with students and families during COVID-19? So it sounds like access is an issue. Access to technology. Yeah, anxiety due to ranking and grades, wanting to not overwhelm students and families, calling to check on students and talking to parents instead of the student. Yeah, I think that this looks different. With every student's experience is going to be different, and every parent's experience is going to be different. And I think that there may be some mental health, continuing mental health issues that we'll have to address after we get through this and get back to some sense of normalcy. Parents and students are absolutely overwhelmed. That's correct. And educators as well. Yeah, thank you so much. Those are some great responses. And we will take those into account as we continue to build our resources. Let me go ahead and transition to the next question. What kind of support do you need for students that has not been covered? We tried to do a really good, I would say, general overview on tools and things that would be helpful. And if there's other kinds of supports you needed, go ahead and put those in the chat box. Okay, I'm seeing special education and 504 student instruction. Yes, that is not surprising. I know we have had some questions and comments around supporting students, supporting our SPED and 504 students at this time and how challenging it is. A guide for students and parents to complete the FAFSA. Yeah, that's a great example of how this change was kind of unexpected for us. We'll go ahead and take note of that for sure. Transition resources as well, and certainly keeping students motivated to end the school year successfully. TESFA resources and supporting non-English speakers through remote learning, absolutely. Great, we'll take note of those needs. Thank you all for that feedback. All right, and then the last question, I know how challenging this is for educators and everyone around that's working with students right now, and it's just a challenge for families. And I think we just kind of, there's been some random acts of kindness, and we're just kind of curious, what has given you hope and positivity during such a uniquely stressful time? That's great. Connecting with students, families, and teachers is wonderful. Even things like waving to my neighbors, you know, and saying hi to people, even during social distancing, adds positivity and some hope for sure. College and universities sending out how they're working with students and seniors these ways, in new ways. That's a great example. Maybe we can inquire. Students are missing their counselors and teachers. Absolutely. We are not alone and we are in this together. We are definitely trying to stay connected as best as we can. Oh, it's great to hear from college-bound seniors that they got admitted. That's fantastic. And I do. I do think students miss school. I miss the office. I know my daughter misses her school. That's great. Access to Wi-Fi, that's wonderful. Great. I think the theme here is just all of us trying to stay connected as best we can with staff and students and families. That's wonderful. So I want to be conscious of everyone's time here with the last couple of minutes, and I really want to give you all a sincere thank you for joining us live and participating. I know that this is an extremely busy time. We have some additional resources that folks are sharing, and we will add all of this information. Stay tuned for our email follow-up with all of this information, and please take care and stay healthy and safe. Thank you for the thank you. We definitely put some thought into this webinar. We'll see, maybe we do a round 2 or an encore and make sure everyone that's interested has access to it. So please share that information with your colleagues. Thank you. Take care and stay healthy and safe, and have a great rest of the afternoon. Thank you all.